Today we're talking about days 4, 5, and 6 on our Carnival Dream Cruise to the Bahamas. We first started out by going to Freeport. So as soon as we walked out of the ship and entered into the port itself, I think we looked at a map and then started walking towards the beginning portions of those shops.
Yeah, I mean, mostly that's what they have there is little temporary shops. We did walk around. We wanted to buy something for our grandson, so we kind of started looking for something. And the first thing we saw that we liked were these wooden swords. And we noticed that as we came out of the port exit from the ship, that they were $30, I believe, for those swords.
Yeah, pretty expensive.
Yeah, so we didn't buy them there. We just continued to look around to see if we would find something better. And what we did notice is that we found them further away from the exit, and we found them for $10.
Yeah.
So the prices vary. A lot of the shops have the same items for sale.
Yeah, they did, and that's one of the big things that I had noticed as well. So do save your money, look around first, and try to walk away from all those beginning shops, and you'll probably get a better deal.
But yeah, what we noticed is that it's mostly just little shops and a few food options and drinks. So unless you book an excursion...
Most definitely. I think that's the way to go. Make sure that, if it's going to be your first time and you truly want to experience Freeport itself, then get that excursion, pay a taxi, get away from the port because it's just all industrialized. And you can do everything within 1 hour's worth of time because that's exactly what we did.
Yeah. And if you don't want to, you could just stay on the ship and enjoy, some peace and quiet around the ship because there's less people there.
The one thing, honestly, that we wanted to do was get that photo with the Freeport sign.
Yeah, we did.
And
that was the highlight of our day in Freeport.
Most definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, it was just a very quick day.
After our day in Freeport, we got back on the ship and had a fun night at the piano bar. And the next day was day 5, and we woke up ready to go to Half Moon Cay.
Yeah, I think Half Moon Cay, in my opinion, when you think of the Bahamas and beaches and everything, this right here was the epitome of that. The sands, white and everything. So from the ship, whenever we looked out over the beach itself or the island, the key, whatever you want to call it, absolutely gorgeous. And we had to, what did we do? We went down to deck 5 to actually get that little ticket.
We had to get tickets to get onto the
ferry.
Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tender you from the ship to the island.
And in the ferry ride over to the beaches, not much at all. And what you're greeted with once you walk in is a little square. They've got a few shops, and then I remember there being one bar, but yeah, we immediately walked towards the beach itself, and oh my gosh.
Yeah. The sand was so soft, silky smooth. It felt like if you've ever touched kinetic sand that they have for kids to play with, it felt so much like that. It was just so fluffy and soft.
The water, it was crystal clear. You could literally see your feet whenever we did go inside it. And one of the things that we did was we walked through the big crowds whenever you first hit the beach. And if you're like us and you want a little bit, not privacy, but if you don't want the big crowd and just minimal amounts of people, then continue walking down the beach. If anything, it's just going to allow you to see the beach in its entirety. And there's a lot of things there as well.
Yeah, we found a really cool spot kind of off by ourselves in the trees.
Yeah.
We had a clear view of the ship. And
no matter where you are on the beach, you're going to have awesome views of the Dream or whichever ship that's going to go and dock out there. Not dock, but anchor out there. And it was just absolutely amazing. On our way to the spot that we had chose, we noticed a bunch of lawn chairs for anybody that was going to be out there at the beach. They also had umbrellas with some, and then there was cabanas. I think you have to rent those, but I think you have to rent the umbrellas and the cabanas.
But we looked it up, and the cabanas cost about $700 roughly. And
Crazy
yeah,
expensive.
and they don't come with anything. They don't even have a restroom. Like the
Yeah.
restrooms are outside of the cabana. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be up to you if you want to spend that money. But for us, it's like we
No.
wouldn't be spending time in the cabana because we wanted to be out on the beach or in the
Yes.
water. So that would be, you know, up to you. Kind of pricey.
For sure. I mean, because you're not going to spend your time there. Whenever you go here, the beach is the main attraction, in my opinion. But yeah, if you want a little bit of privacy, then go all the way down towards the end of the beach. But after we laid out, we decided to start walking back towards the square to see what the shops had. And I mean, it was an experience, but they had almost a lot of the same things that they did have in Freeport. And yeah, so
There weren't many. I think there were only like 4 or 5 shops. So it's not like you had a lot of options for shopping. But again, that's not why you're there. I think it's just like small souvenir things like a t-shirt or shot glass or whatever kind of souvenirs you're into.
yeah, so we basically just wrapped things up pretty quickly inside the little square itself. Decided not to have a drink at the bar because we were already done with the beach, and we just thought that our money would be better spent on the ship itself. So yeah, that was pretty much it for Half Moon Cay. Very, very gorgeous island itself with stunning views. And
They also have activities that you can do. Like we noticed horseback riding. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
paddle boats. They had, are they called paddle boats?
I don't know what type of boats they had, but I do remember the horseback riding, and that was pretty amazing to see them like waste the horses were in the water. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
And I was trying to say paddle boards, not paddle boat. They had paddle
okay.
boards.
Yeah.
But there were several activities for people to do if you don't want to just hang out on the beach. And also, when you go to the bars, you can't use your drink package. So if you have
Yeah.
a drink package, don't expect to be able to use it.
Which is crazy because there's a few other cruises that do allow you to use the drink package on their private islands. So Carnival, I think y'all need to up your game. And then on day 6, we found ourselves at Nassau, and oh my goodness, talk about, that was the iconic Bahamas. If you think of the Bahamas and like all the architecture, the buildings, the different colors and stuff like that, that's what Nassau is going to greet you with. I mean, it was really
amazing,
yeah. So we started out by trying to go to the Queen's Staircase. That was the first and foremost thing on our itinerary. And yeah, about that.
It was disappointing. We used Google Maps because we walked. We chose to walk for exercise, and plus we just like to walk to explore. But we used Google Maps to find our way to the Queen's Staircase, and it just so happens that the entrance that it led us to was closed. So we just assumed that we weren't going to get to see it.
We didn't know that they had a secondary entrance, and that's what Shannon had found out whenever she asked a few questions on the internet.
Well, after the fact.
Yeah.
So we missed out on Queen's Staircase, so we'll for sure have to go back sometime.
Most definitely.
We did try to snap a few pictures from this side of the closed gate.
But yeah, it's really, it didn't do it any justice whatsoever. So yeah, that was one that we missed out on. But from there, we decided to walk to the Watling's Distillery. And for the most part, they produce some rum. I didn't know anything about them until that day, whenever we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. But glad we did walk there. Walking there, let's talk about that for sure. The streets, they are not pedestrian friendly, so y'all need to be careful if you do decide to walk out there. If you see a sidewalk, use it, because the streets are so narrow, and there's like little to no room to like scooch on by as you're walking. But we did, as some of the locals were doing, and if we saw them walking on a particular side of the road, that's what we wanted to do.
Followed along. There was one point where I know we were watching footage back, and Mark kind of like moved me back over, and it did look like I don't remember
the car
if it was
was
a
about
car or a
to,
motorcycle that was very close to me. So definitely need to watch yourself if you choose to walk.
Yeah, so they have some sidewalks, but a lot of the areas do not. But either way, we made our way to the Watlings Distillery, and they had a free tour going on. We were greeted with a pina colada. I thought it was amazing, that pina
little
colada.
sample
Yeah,
of
because
pina
I mean it was
colada. It was
hot
really
that
nice.
day, and that frozen pina colada was it was so good.
It was nice. We were hot and we had just walked so far. And it was nice. And you mentioned that it was a free tour.
Yes.
Our tour guide was amazing though.
Yeah.
He told us so much of the history and
Very informative.
Yeah, it was very informative. He taught us all about the distillery.
He showed us like a well that they have behind the house, and it was like 74 feet deep, and people have lost phones and everything. So he's like, hold on to your phones if you lean over and you want to look down there. Sunglasses, phones, all that stuff.
We saw stuff in
Yeah.
there, like along the edge, but there's just no way to get it back.
Yeah. But after that, we went into their barreling / bottling house, and it's a very small operation. They've got several varieties of rum. I do believe that they make a vodka. And yeah, it's just really neat to be able to see something that is local to the Bahamas. It's Bahamian made. And like after the tour was over, we went inside an area where you can purchase actual bottles that they have.
Purchase bottles, and then they had a bar where you could purchase.
Oh yeah, the bar.
Flights
Yeah.
and different things.
Yeah, so if
honestly, we could make a whole nother video just about the distillery
itself, yeah. It was pretty neat. I do recommend, especially if you're one that likes to have a cocktail or two, then definitely go there and try it out.
After we left the distillery, we were going to go to Umbrella Lane. I don't know that we necessarily planned to go there,
Yeah.
but Mark indulged me.
Yeah, I think somebody told you about that, and then you thought it was cute, and I was like, okay. So to describe it, I'll let you describe it because that was your thing that you truly wanted to do. And
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because as we were walking, we kind of got
sidetracked.
We got sidetracked. We saw an art gallery. So we didn't go into the art gallery, but they did have some sculptures outside.
Yeah.
So we stopped to check those out and look around. And then we got back on track to Umbrella Lane. And really what Umbrella Lane is a photo opportunity. They had the part of the street was lined with umbrellas from the top, and they had like colorful buildings, like old buildings where you could kind of stop and take photos.
But watch out because cars are still zooming through there. I think they had like a few restaurants that you could go to and eat at. But yeah, it's a good photo op for sure. But from there, since we were close by, we opted to go to the straw market. So if you're gonna go to Nassau, the straw market is a must-do. I think their shops were a little bit better than Freeport because we actually saw when we were walking through there, it's a very tight and cramped space. Be prepared to, for it to be a little bit musty. I don't recall that they had AC. But what we did see when we were walking through were Bahamians actually weaving some of the, like, maybe it's the palms and making some goods and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty nice to be able to know that if you were gonna purchase something from the vendors, that chances are it was locally made versus shipped in, something mass produced somewhere else and then just shipped in with something stamped that says Bahamas or something like that. But the straw market was pretty cool, I think.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
I thought we did hear entertainment. Somebody was singing, performing.
Yeah.
We didn't see the performer, but you could hear him throughout the market. It's kind of like a large flea market and everything's very close together, but they had such a huge selection of things.
For sure. It was a really neat experience to be able to do that. And then from there, we did what?
I think that's when we went to the rum cake factory.
Yeah,
that was far.
It was
a long walk,
really
but
off the beaten path.
In my opinion, it was worth it. We waited for rum cake because we specifically wanted to try it from this location. And we didn't regret it at all.
They said that it's probably very subjective, but they were the original makers of the rum cake. And there was another one on Nassau, which was called like Blackbeard's or something like that. But we opted to go with the rum cake factory. So once we got there, they give you some samples to let you try it out, and I always forget which one that they let us try.
I think they gave us 2 flavors. They gave us the original, and I want to say pina colada.
Oh, pina colada, yes.
I think they gave us pina colada
for sure.
and original.
They were both good.
They were.
The pina colada happened to be my favorite.
Mine too.
And if you're gonna buy some of the rum cakes from the factory, then I recommend doing their like mix and match. I think you can get like 6 of them, and no need to worry about them going bad or anything like that, because the cashier, the attendant told us that they'll last. They're not that they're non-perishable, but they were vacuum sealed in some pretty thick plastic, and so it held for a while. And yeah, definitely try that out, whether you're going to walk all the way to the rum cake factory or just try the Blackbeard's, which is a lot closer to the port itself. Rum cakes were pretty good. I think if we do go back, I may try Blackbeard's just to compare the two.
Try something different.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I do recommend that if you're going to walk around, have a plan in place so you can, you know, use your time wisely and see as much as you possibly can. Because otherwise, we kind of talked about, we wish we would have gotten a taxi because there were so many things that we wanted to do that we just didn't have time to do walking.
Yeah, because I mean, I wanted to do, Nassau is like deep with a lot of pirates. Their history runs really deep with that, and they have a pirate museum. I don't know what it's about. I did see it on a couple of videos from other creators on YouTube, but I would like to experience that myself, and I think that would be one way to go. And then there's also another place where they had like a fort that was further off on, I forgot which side of the island it is, but we didn't get to see that.
That was near the fish fry.
The fish fry, yes, and that's another spot that I would like to go and try out. So there's like so many things to do whenever you're there at Nassau that, yes, we recommend walking because everything's doable, but if you want to hit every opportunity to go and see what Nassau has to offer, then you're probably going to have to get a taxi just to get from one side to the other, because you can put in the miles for sure. And then there's also a few resorts. There's other beaches that you can possibly see. And
we really wanted to do the fish fry, but we had been told that their wait time for their food is really long, so we weren't going to risk that because we didn't have much time left.
Yeah, the service is not what you think of here in the States, where it's fast, it's prompt. Everybody kept stressing island time, and it's not like the time on your watch. It's just like they're on another beat. They're lax, they're laid back. The food we heard was amazing, but we just didn't have the time for the type of service that we were going to be greeted with once we got there. So if we do go back, maybe we take a taxi and hit the fish fry first and you know, see what it's about. But aside of that, have cash. That's one thing that we noticed. Like a lot of places don't take the cards, or to avoid your international fees, just have cash on you. That's what they prefer the most.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And when we paid cash for our rum cakes, they gave you back
Bahamian money.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got some keepsakes for Nassau. But aside of that, the Bahamas, it's gorgeous over there. And if you were on the fence thinking about taking a trip there or possibly cruising there,
do it.
Yes, do it. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. Hindsight being 2020, if we do go to Freeport, we're definitely going to see it by way of an excursion, just to see what it truly has to offer. And Half Moon Cay, I mean, it is what it is. It's so just beautiful. Stunning. And Nassau, well, yeah, there's a lot of things left undone, so we definitely want to see it again. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to click that thumbs up button, and we'll see you on the next one.